Tonight is the last stop before Rebound next week. And tonight here on Prime, we have a lot of unfinished business to settle before we get into that event. I'm Chloe, the Troublemaker James, at your service for this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you this right now. We have a lot in store for you this evening. Least of all being Rock Howard's last chance, as Kanji Tatsumi has one final challenge for him tonight to face off, and if he wins, he faces Kanji at Rebound. But not only that, we will see the Sky High champion Terra in action as he faces off against Dave Strider. All this and more tonight on the final stop before Rebound. And it looks as though we're not going to have to wait on Rock Howard's next opponent for the main event. Looks as though, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to figure out if we do in fact have a world title match at Rebound right now. We're not waiting until the main event. We are simply getting this done and dusted now. And you can see on Rock Howard's face, he's uncertain, but he is prepared regardless for what is going to happen here tonight as he gets set for his final challenge, his final test, in his own words, to prove that he is ready and raring to face off against Kanji Tatsumi for the world title at Rebound. Now, Rock Howard's been a martyr, some would say, to his own sense of deserving it. But will this finally answer Rock Howard's question? What? What? Kanji, did you? Kanji Tatsumi, you fucking did it! Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, last week, Rock Howard faced off against Jin Kazama, former world champion Jin Kazama, and tonight he's facing off. He has picked for Rock Howard's final test, Liquid Snake. Liquid Snake, former world champion in his own right, former leader of Outer Heaven, and one of the most unlikeliest of people to ever be in the All-Star Call League. Let's be clear about this. One of the most unlikeliest of people ever in the All-Star Call League. And to put it very bluntly, someone who has had a very interesting history within the All-Star Call League. And another person, I will point out, who was essentially taken out before his time in the same circumstance as Jin Kazama was. I mean, definitely, I'm just flabbergasted here because I did not ever anticipate to see Jin Kazama ever again, and I certainly did not ever anticipate to see Liquid Snake ever again in an ACL ring. But seeing them both do it back to back is just... oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting set for an interesting contest between two men. The genetically superior leader of Outer Heaven faces off against Rock Howard, the fly-by-night wolf, who, if he wins against Liquid Snake right here and now, he will have proven himself worthy of that. Potentially, anyway. There could be a chance that Rock Howard will still... There could be a chance that Rock Howard loses here tonight, and maybe he decides he's not worth it. There is also the very real chance that Rock Howard simply will win here tonight and still will not feel like he is worthy. And I hear your cries. What if that happens, Chloe? What if that happens? Well, I'll tell you what will happen. I am getting word right now that if we do not get confirmation that Rock Howard will be the one to face off against Kanji Tatsumi at Rebound through this match right here and now, I am getting word Seto Kaiba has a contingency plan in place for an open challenge at Rebound to take place for anyone in VWU to show up. So, that's it. Either Rock Howard faces off against Kanji Tatsumi at Rebound, or Seto Kaiba's contingency, an open challenge to anyone in Virtual Wrestling United to face off against Kanji Tatsumi, will in fact take place. I mean, bold gamble on the part of Seto Kaiba, but let me just put it to you like this. We're realistically in the final days of the All-Star Call League here, ladies and gentlemen. It's go hard or go home, is all I will say. So I will certainly say this. I do not think it is simply just for marketing purposes that Seto Kaiba is doing that. I firmly believe that Seto Kaiba is just throwing that out purely so that he can say, yes, we are in the final days. These are the last days of the All-Star Call League. Come and get it. But as we are seeing here, simply in this opening and I have to say this is the opening contest here tonight on Prime 139 here, ladies and gentlemen. We still have a lot in store. I thought this was going to be our main event. Come on! That rolling kick, that rolling savant kick right there by Rock Howard and following up by a wild roundhouse right there to Liquid Snake. And this is the thing, I haven't been able to call it because I've been trying to make sure that I've been calling this correctly here, and Mark of the Wolves! Mark of the Wolves right there by Rock Howard! 1, 2, no! Only a 1 count, are you kidding me? I mean, the fans are saying it all here, that we may not be worthy of seeing a match right here tonight. Because you gotta remember, throughout the entirety of both men's careers, Rock Howard and Liquid Snake never faced off against one another one-on-one. They always faced off against each other in either tag team or triple threat action. So to see them do battle in a match like this, especially with Liquid Snake having been out of the game for several years, you've got to imagine that Liquid Snake is certainly trying to make a point here at the expense of Rock Howard here tonight, after being painfully selected by Kanji Tatsumi. And you can see right here tonight, the genetically superior wrestler, as he once called himself, is still just as brutal and just as tenacious as he was at his prime. No pun intended. Oh, God! Tripping and falling just like that. And we got a bleeder off that as Rock Howard face plants onto the mat. And Liquid Snake breaking down Rock Howard bit by bit, little by little here tonight. And that's really the thing that will absolutely get Rock Howard if he isn't careful. Because Liquid Snake is a tenacious motherfucker, and he made an absolute name for himself for pulverizing his opponents with the White Mamba back in the day. And we are seeing him pull that out and then some. And oh God, and a pump handle fall-away slam just like that. Wait a minute, no, Rock Howard playing possum, getting him on, rolling him up. 2. Only netting a 2 and an enziguri right there, not doing much in the way of getting damage onto Liquid Snake. But Rock Howard once again with the rolling savant right there, pulling out all the stops, using his fighting skills to his advantage here, going for the full combination and a mushroom stomp right there onto the back of Liquid Snake. Definitely a good way to mitigate the White Mamba that he is so known for. And he's trying his best to try and come up with all these maneuvers to fight off against Liquid Snake. But yet Liquid Snake is coming back with a power slam, putting him into the pin as well. Picking him right back up, and oh God, putting him right onto the ground as well. And oh no, God, setting him up. White Mamba locked in hard. Out of nowhere with the White Mamba locking it in hard onto Rock Howard. And look at him, he's bleeding profusely already. It's not looking good for Rock Howard here. and especially with Liquid Snake locking it in, arching the back of Rock Howard for good measure. You can see he's only gotten more and more dangerous with his time away, and this is a perfect opportunity right here for Rock Howard to see what it will take to take out Kanji Tatsumi should he win! And escaping the White Mamba. Not many people can ever attest to being able to escape the White Mamba, but Rock Howard has cemented himself on that list with this here tonight. And now Rock Howard pulling out all the stops and then some once again against Liquid Snake. He pulled it out against Jin Kazama last week. He's pulling it out once again against Liquid Snake. But here's the thing to keep in mind, Liquid Snake is not a walk in the park. He has never been one easy opponent, and if anything, he knows just how dangerous you need to be in order to be a world champion. He fought off Geese Howard. He fought off the Orochi clan back in the day with the help of Out of Heaven. He was one of the most hardest hitting world champions in some time, and the only reason he was stopped was because of one Kenshin Himura back in the day. But as you can see right now, the two men just trading blow after blow against one another. You really gotta be thinking to yourself, if I'm Rock Howard, what do I gotta do in order to take him out? And he's just staring at him right in the face and setting him up. Wait a minute, Descent to Darkness! Descent to Darkness, 2! No! The fans are calling for it one more time, but I don't think Descent to Darkness is gonna do that. And I mean, there's only so much words that you could really put into what we've been seeing from Rock Howard over the last few weeks leading into this. Rock Howard has made it clear he feels that he doesn't deserve it as of yet. But really, after what he faced off against Jin Kazama last week, surviving the Kazama lock, surviving a massive encounter against Jin Kazama last week, if he is doing this much against Liquid Snake here tonight and he is still thinking he isn't deserving enough, when many people never even got to this point against him in the past, and here it comes, Rock Drop! Clipped him on the ropes with the Rock Drop. But really, hardly anyone in Liquid Snake's prime got to this point against the man himself. So you really got to be thinking to yourself here, Rock, if you win here tonight and you still don't feel like you're worthy of it, my God, what the hell else do you feel like would be worthy of it in the end? And that's me being honest here. Liquid Snake, on the other hand, setting him up. Oh, God. Planting him down just like that. And no, trying to set him back down. Trying to get him in place for the White Mamba, but he's noticing the ropes are in place. Liquid Snake has got to get him away from those ropes if he's even going to figure out doing the White Mamba again. And it's a bloody affair on both sides as well. And wait a minute, no, Brock's setting him up! Descent to Darkness again! Descent to Darkness again. Super kicking him into place. And wait a minute, no, he's trying to set a statement right here. He's trying to make a statement clear. And he's trying to make it clear as he's trying to make Liquid Snake tap. I think he's realizing that if he's gonna wear down on Liquid Snake, he's gonna have to do more than that in order to keep Liquid Snake down. And Rock trying his damn best. I mean, he's definitely been pulling out all the stops against him, and no! Rolling an arm drag! No, saved by a rope break, however. Saved by a rope break with that arm bar from out of nowhere. Liquid Snake. Oh, no, he's pulling him away from the ropes. God, no, he's gonna set him up and put him... No! Rock Howard, on the other hand, setting him back up. Putting him into the ropes. No, Liquid Snake reversing it now. Liquid Snake setting him up top. What on earth? What on earth does the Twin Snake have in store? Oh, God, just delaying it. And oh my God, a delayed suplex simply just because. And now locking in the White Mamba again. Rock Howard has nowhere to turn, and it's not looking good right here for the Fly-By-Night Wolf. It is not looking good for Rock Howard, and that is being very, very blunt about the situation here. At this point, Rock is either going to tap or he's going to pass out, but there's no way he's going to break that hold given how much blood is flowing from his head at this point. Even Nicholas Riley in the middle is just begging for Rock Howard to tap out at this point. But oh God, Liquid's loosening the grip a little bit there. You really got to be thinking to yourself, has Liquid Snake had too much of a toll placed on him at this point? Has Rock done enough? And Rock has done enough! Getting him back up, putting him back into place, and no! And a wild roundhouse again! Another wild roundhouse. Another wild roundhouse for the books, trying to drag Liquid Snake away from the ropes. He was thinking either Descent to Darkness or a Mark of the Wolves here. And wait a minute, no, he's thinking Descent to Darkness for a third time. 1, 2. He let it go on purpose, and he's going. No. He let it go on purpose, but for what reason is Rock Howard thinking of letting it go just like that? He's bringing Liquid Snake back into the ring. And he's going once again, pulling it out, trying to make Liquid Snake submit. And he does! I never thought I would ever say the words Liquid Snake tapped out. But Rock Howard did that right here tonight as he pulled out one hell of a contest. And let me tell you something, if Rock Howard doesn't think he deserves the match against Kanji Tatsumi after 2 back-to-back wins of high caliber like we've seen here tonight, then let me tell you something, Rock Howard. I don't know what the fuck kind of crack you're smoking here, but you better accept it this time, because after 2 back-to-back matches like this, and your match against Jin Kazama last week, kid, you more than deserve it at this point. I'm getting word right here, ladies and gentlemen. Kanji Tatsumi's making his way out, and he's burning a hole right at Rock Howard at this point.
Rock, you and me. Rebound. What's your answer now?
Keep that belt warm for me, champ. I'm coming for it.
We got a match! We got a match, ladies and gentlemen! Rebound, Rock Kanji 2, it's on! Ooh. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to ACL Prime. And my god here, ladies and gentlemen, what an interesting way to start off our evening here. We have confirmation of the world title match finally happening. The final pieces to the puzzle have been all confirmed for Rebound. Everything on Prime's end, all confirmed, baby. I think this is just going to be an interesting night after that because, my god, you cannot really you can't really top what we just started our night with. So, either way, we're going to have a really good night here after that, but I don't know how we're going to top that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we got Terra versus Dave Strider in our main event. I'm being told that that is actually our main event now after what we just saw. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got tag team action with two teams that know each other very well from their experiences on the Millennium brand a few seasons ago. In the ring already, Seaburn and Kamina of Team Daiguren, and coming down the ramp, Yuri Lowe and Flynn Schifo of Brave Vesperia. Former tag team champions in both their ends, with Team Daiguren being the first ever dual holders of the Millennium and Prime Championships, winning both of those titles, being the first holders of both of those belts even, I should say, on both occasions. And Yuri Lowe and Flynn Schifo being former Prime Tag Team Champions, I should say, sorry, having made their mark on the Millennium brand and making their mark in terms of becoming Tag Team Champions on this brand not that long after. Now with two teams from that basis alone, tonight, we see them face off in differing territories, in differing circumstances as well, mind you. And tonight, with Yuri and Kamina starting us off here tonight, we're getting set for amazing tag team action to start up our night. Well, I say start up our night, like our night didn't already start, my god! And as you can see right now, Yuri Lowe and Kamina going at it, and Yuri is going at it and sending Kamina down with a backbreaker onto the turnbuckle. Showcasing his standard ability, showcasing his swashbuckling ability. One would even say he's sort of a swindler, one may even put it. As one may have put it in the past. One of us may have put it in the past. You know the man I'm talking about, holy sh! You know the boy I'm talking about. You know him all so well, but I'm not him. Well, that's complicated. But ladies and gentlemen, this contest is certainly a bit interesting for the word go, as, well, Kamina has just went all out on both members of Brave Vesperia, and Team Daiguren is certainly in an interesting predicament here, as Kamina is definitely in a bad way and getting absolutely driven to the mat there. Yuri has definitely taken full advantage of the contest so far. Kamina seemingly trying to find his way back here, but it's still not looking good on the part of either side at this point, because it's looking pretty much neck and neck from what I can look at here in regards to this one. But Kamina now making the tag to C-Mode right there. And C-Mode, probably the harder hitting member of Team Daiguren. Let's be clear about this here. But Yuri definitely not one to be taken advantage of like that. Setting C-Mode up. Thought he was going for a suplex right there, but going right there for the neck breaker as well. And now, sending C-Mode into the corner, faking for a tag. I was thinking it was going to be a tag there, but no. And C-Mode going right for those strikes there again, and no, Yuri sending him right back into the corner there, trying desperately to make the tag to Flynn. Thankfully making that tag, and oh my god. Oh, an axe handle right to the, assistant axe handle right to the back of C-Mode right there by both members of Brave Vesperia, and the powerhouse of the group and Flynn Shifu with a Brain Buster. The knight of the duo of Cepheus right here has definitely been no slouch in the ring since the two men debuted back in Season 5. And let's be clear about something here with this one. Both of these teams definitely have their pedigrees in terms of where they've come from, in terms of where they've been in their overall journeys here in the All-Star Quali. Let's not mince words about that. Flynn, however, distracted by the posing. Kamina making the tag. C-Mode still in the middle of the ring, however, oh god, Kamina is looking in trouble here with this one now. Flynn looking at him. Nicholas, you might want to get out of the way there, buddy. And he's going off the ropes and shoving him right back in. I agree. Fans, you've definitely had a pretty good evening as it were already, and you're getting a taste of some pretty good tag team action. Realistically, this being the final night before we go to Rebound next week, I'm just gonna say it right here and now. Oh god, Snapdragon Suplex just like that right onto Kamina. You're getting a treat right here tonight in terms of the action at hand here. And right now, Flynn making the tag right back to Yuri there. Kamina is still looking to be in trouble here. And the double flip over right there by both members of Brave Vesperia. Yuri taking full advantage of the situation here and going right back to those hard-hitting punches. And wait a minute. Oh, God. A massive show of strength right there by Yuri Low, just like that. Showcasing why he is one of the best. And wait a minute, the swindle! The namesake swindle going for the pin. 1, 2. And only netting a 2 count from the swindle. And it is not looking good on the part of Brave Vesperia. Well, I was going to say it's looking good on the part of Brave Vesperia, not good on the part of Team Daiguren here. And Yuri looking to make an example right in front of C-Mode, but that's not looking good. But Yuri, on the other hand, still as fresh in the contest as ever. Yuri setting up C-Mode up to the top of the rope, and once again looking for a backbreaker right there onto the turnbuckle. Kamina still in the ring, and he's not looking good. Being told to get out by the referee, however, now that he's conscious. C-Mode, on the other hand, looking to take advantage of it. Shoulder tackle right there onto Yuri Low. And the back and forth continues on both ends right here tonight in this contest. Realistically, it's still anyone's game at this point here. But Yuri going for the pin, only netting a 2 count for his troubles. And Yuri continuing to put out all the stops, shoving C-Mode into the corner there. C-Mode getting out of it, however. And a pop-up DDT for good measure as well against Yuri Low. And he's faking here. Oh, wait a minute. Here it comes. Spiral Energy Submission. The SES locked in hard. And Flynn jumped the gun a bit there because Yuri getting out of it with a pin. No, C-Mode reversing with a pin. No, Yuri reversing it again. No, C-Mode reversing it again. Both of these men just reversing it in and out just like that. Pretty much like a measuring contest between the two. And oh god, Giga Drill Breaker just like that. 1, 2. Giga Drill Breaker does not end it right here tonight against Yuri Low. And C-Mode, tilt-a-whirl. Oh, sidewalk slam. I thought it was going to be a backbreaker, but a sidewalk slam. No, Yuri, on the other hand, getting out of it. I forgot to say it before, but Yuri's a bleeder right here tonight. Yuri calling for a Heavenly Blade Wing. Heavenly Blade Wing hits the target. 1, 2. No, Kamina makes the save. But it's not looking good on the part of either side at this point, but especially not looking good for C-Mode at this point. He sustained heavy damage with both the Swindle and the Heavenly Blade Wing in the match right now. And right there in the corner, seemingly for good measure, getting some really hard-hitting elbows right there by C-Mode onto Yuri Low! And Flynn immediately getting hit by with a massive hit to the knees and a neck breaker for good measure as well. Spearing Yuri off the ropes. Flynn is right back up, back in action, going right for it. Flynn has actually been out of the match for the majority of this so far. So realistically, he's arguably the one with the most stamina to burn at this point in this contest, and he's arguably one of the healthiest in this match to this point. But if I am even men at this point here, I've got to be thinking to myself here, just what in the hell is it going to take for either side to go down? Because this has been one hell of a contest so far. Let's be clear about this. But you look at the pedigree as to what we're seeing in the middle of the ring right now, and you've got to think to yourself, only one of these teams can realistically win it out. And it's realistically got to be one of these two. And really right now, if you were to put money on it, I would definitely say that Brave Vesperia has a lot more in terms of the healthiness factor, especially with Flynn compared to Yuri and the Rolling Savant right there by Flynn Shipo, I should say. Sorry, I was distracted talking about Yuri Low being the more that's been active in this match on the part of Brave Vesperia at this point here. And you can see it in the way that Flynn is just picking apart. Oh, and the crossbody right there to the outside. Picking apart C-Mode right here and now. And both on the outside here. And wait a minute. What on earth is Flynn C-Mode doing here? Spinning him around just like that. A massive display of strength on the part of Flynn Shipo here, but Nicholas Riley's telling him, quit the showboating, kid. You gotta bring it in the ring. And a bit distracting on the part of both men. C-Mode is definitely out of it, however. And Flynn thankfully bringing it back in before the count of 10. Counts him out of the match entirely. But I think Flynn is looking to put an end to this here. No. Instead, no. No, C-Mode on the other hand, bringing it right into the corner just like that. Making the tag to Kamina, setting it up for a Daigura Destroyer. Daigura Destroyer, and now making sure that Yuri Low is out of the equation entirely. This could be it for Brave Vesperia here. 2. Flynn kicks out. And no, the super kick, and another super kick for good measure, just like that. And wait a minute, setting it up for the manliest DDT. Now, if that wasn't it, this would definitely have to be it, but Yuri getting involved, breaking it up. Getting back up in the nick of time to save Flynn and then some. But I think Flynn has something else in mind here. I'm thinking he's gonna signal for the end here for the namesake, the brightest star in the night sky, Brave Vesperia itself. Their namesake ending maneuver, the brightest star in the night sky. Lays out Kamina, C-Mode's down flat. 1, 2, 3. And Brave Vesperia start off their season well with a massive win tonight against some old foes in C-Mode and Kamina. massive win for the boys here tonight, and a massive win in terms of tag team action right here tonight. And welcome back here tonight here on Prime, ladies and gentlemen. And we are about to get set on what has already been an interesting evening for sure here tonight on Prime. We are about to get set for your main event of the evening, as Terra goes off to face off against an old foe in the Night of Time, Dave Strider. Right before, mind you, he is set to face off against Ken Kaneki next week in what is going to be probably an interesting rematch between the two. And I'm sorry if I'm a little bit speechless here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This episode of Prime has been a little bit interesting in terms of what we've experienced here tonight. So excuse me if I'm a little bit exhausted, but we've had quite the interesting evening here tonight on Prime, that is for certain. But here comes the boy himself, the man who will be facing off against Ken Kaneki in a rematch for the Grand Slam next week, defending the Sky High Championship in a no-holds-barred match on that very night, in what can only be described as an encounter that is going to be hell in terms for all involved. Because if you thought the encounter between the two at the All-Star Grand Slam has, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already been prepared for the encounter, because I lost my train of thought there for a second, because, again, like I said, been an exhausting evening of action here tonight on Prime. If you thought their encounter at the Grand Slam was something to, if you thought their encounter at the Grand Slam was brutal, when they face off against each other in a no-holds-barred match, oh boy, we're gonna be in for an interesting match. But, here we go. This is your main event here tonight on Prime 139. It is Terra versus Terra versus Dave Strider before Terra faces off against Ken Kaneki next week at Rebound and defends the Sky High Championship in that match. Now, in any other circumstance, these two would definitely, you'd have to consider that Dave Strider should definitely be in pretty good contention for the Sky High Championship should he win here tonight. But one would have to argue But yes, ladies and gentlemen, if this were any other night, this would be a test for Dave Strider to essentially become close to Sky High Championship contention here. But one would have to assume that this is more of a test for Terra going into his match against Ken Kaneki next week. Because this is the first time that Terra has been in action since the Grand Slam. The boy will definitely have his work cut out for him next week when he faces off against Ken in a no-holds-barred match, when everything is taken off the table entirely in his first defense for the Sky High title. But tonight, Terra definitely will have to try and use this as a test. Reversing the pin right there onto Dave Strider. And this is the thing, Terra cannot afford to get too cocky. He cannot afford to get too cocky. He cannot afford to get too complacent, especially against someone like Dave Strider, who he has faced off against in the past and has definitely been in contention with in the past for Sky High Championship dominance. Especially in terms of #1 contendership opportunities and a DDT right there by Dave Strider for good measure. And now setting up and a splash denied right there. And oh God, earth-shattering uppercut right there onto Dave Strider. And right now, Terra is just like, is that really all you've got there? Is that really all you've got? Setting him up into the corner. And really, I was saying before how this is going to be a test for Terra. This is more going to be an example being made of just how tenacious Terra still is, even though he nets at only a 2 count against Dave Strider in this main event contest here. And really, this is the thing you've got to keep into account with this. Terra could realistically lose here tonight, and by sheer force of will, Dave could more or less use this to leverage himself to become a #1 contender for whoever walks out of Rebound with the Sky High Championship. That is realistically something you've got to imagine that could potentially happen should this take place. And Dave is now taking full advantage of the contest, using his full acrobatic ability for someone who used to call himself the anti-cruiserweight in the past. For someone who was pretty much against the efforts of the Sky High division at the very onset of its creation, we have seen Dave Strider embody the Sky High division and then some in all forms since he entered it. And as it has grown, as it has become this entity within the All-Star Calling, you have to imagine that someone like Dave Strider, who has never been Sky High champion but has gotten close to it on many occasions here tonight, well, on many occasions, and especially on an occasion like tonight, I should say, you've got to imagine that for someone like Dave Strider, this is not just about proving a point. This is not just about showing that he is on the same level as everyone else. 1, 2, no! Only a 1 count right there by Dave Strider onto Terra. But as I was saying, this is one of those instances where you gotta be thinking to yourself that this is gonna be something that has eaten away at Dave Strider for so long. And maybe it might be coming to a boil sooner rather than later if he's not careful. Really, right here tonight, we're seeing it in full force. Dave is just continuing to go for those hard-hitting strikes, but he's going up top. Is he thinking the scratch there? Oh, and he hits the scratch! 1, 2, only a 2 count, however. Only a 2 count. No! And the running moonsault, and no! Running uppercut right there on the part of Terra, just like that. And he's setting it up. He's setting up for the Gaia's Bane. No! Gaia's Bane misses it. Dave gets out of the way just in the nick of time, just to get out of the Gaia's Bane, and that might have saved him there. If he got hit, that might have been game, set, match, just like that. Wait a minute, an arm drag from the top of the rope by Dave Strider. It's not looking good right here. Terra's momentum has shifted hard in this match at this point. Right now, Dave, what on earth is he thinking here? A super kick right there across the ropes and rebounding off just like that. Handspring moonsault right into the pin. 1, 2. No, only a 2 count. Only getting a 2 count with that combination, just like that. Continuing to go for those strikes, continuing to go right for the assault right there, but Terra reversing it, planting him onto the ground and stomping him down for good measure. And no, Terra. No! Terra out of nowhere with a run-up Gaia's Bane from out of nowhere, but it does not get the count. It does not get the win for Terra here tonight. And what on earth do you have to be thinking if you're Terra, that you've got to be pulling out all the stops right here? And even in a circumstance like what we've seen in this contest so far, because my God! In any other contest, this would easily be one of the hardest hitting matches on any night. Especially if it were for the Sky High Championship, mind you. Especially if you had that in mind! Because these two are pulling out everything against one another in order to get the other one down. And Terra knows it! Oh God! And another earth-shattering uppercut for good measure. And Terra continuing to lay down with those strikes. And even with that drop kick, it's giving the fact that Terra has to put it away. He cannot let his exhaustion get to him. Counting it down. Gaia's Bane hits the target. 1, 2, 3. And Terra netting a big win going into Rebound next week at his first defense of the Sky High Championship against Ken Kaneki. And if he's going to pull out an assault like this when he faces off against Ken Kaneki next week at Rebound, then my God, ladies and gentlemen, Ken Kaneki, even though he stacked the deck in the matchup against Terra, I get the feeling that Terra is going to find any and all ways to be able to beat Ken Kaneki in his own game next week, especially with a win like this here tonight. You can look on, and you can just see it on Terra's face. He's prepared for whatever the Tokyo Ghoul has for him next week in that encounter. But oh my God, we're not done here. The will of Gaia is asking for a microphone. Let's see what he has to say.
A familiar feeling. This is certainly one of those, huh? About a few months ago, I was preparing for what I felt to be the fight of my career when I faced off against Ken for the Sky High Championship. A championship I now hold proudly in my hands today. And now, I am back in that situation again, ready to fight Ken to defend this title in a match where he seemingly has the higher ground on it. A more violent match than last we faced off, something I feel he'd be happy to indulge in. Well, if it's violence he wants so badly, then I'll give it to him. I'll make sure he gets wrecked and never wants another shot at me while I hold this. You think I fought for my life at the Grand Slam, Ken? I'll show you that was only a fraction of what I can do.
My God, there. Terra is calling out Ken, and oh God, no! Kiriyoshi Kage from out of nowhere, but Terra going right back at him, giving him a fight for what it's worth there. God, you have to be thinking that Ken is that desperate to try and pull out Kiriyoshi Kage and the Bloodsuckers up against him. But Kira, even with his new look, gets a Canadian destroyer for good measure, just like that. And Terra is simply just unimpressed by it. But hey, wait a damn minute, put it right back in there. And oh god, Ken Kaneki from out of nowhere there. And oh god, a bloodlust. Bloodlust right there onto Terra, just like that. And oh god, no. Ken is demolishing our announce table right here, and he's only got bad intentions in mind. He's already got a knocked out Terra just like that. Terra is not looking good. Ken is dragging him over to our announce table area, and he's only got bad intent in mind as he brings him over here. And oh god, no, a choke slam! Right there onto the announce table. And good god, you can just see that Ken is enjoying the carnage that he has brought himself here tonight. And while Terra may have said that he is prepared to wage war against Ken Kaneki and the Bloodsuckers if need be next week, you have to wonder if Ken Kaneki, the Tokyo Ghoul, is really going all out. If he wants blood, then I guess he's got it.